Hey everyone, it's Types, and today I wanted to talk about the OPOP, short for the OmniPoke Online Play League. This is actually a little weird. I guess it's the OPOP League. The first OP is OmniPoke, which is one word, but OPOP sounds better, I guess. And recently did a poll on my channel asking, I did two different polls. One was asking, did you know what this was? Most of you responded, you did not, because unsurprisingly, it kind of didn't work out too well. And then I also asked, should YouTubers do collabs? And pretty much all of you said yes. I actually messed up the poll and YouTube like glitched and stuff. But yeah, essentially most of you said yes. And so unsurprisingly, this is a video. The OPOP was a big collab thing that didn't end up working out. So I want to hear your thoughts on it. Link down below. I should have a video, the original video talking about it, which is realistically I'm going to be talking about a lot of the stuff they said there in this video, so you don't necessarily need to watch it. You can get a different, like their point of view. It obviously is run by OmniPoke. But first of all, what is it? This is straight from their video. This is 20 content creators. Competing in a best of three conquest. That doesn't really matter. It's just playing. And they so they were supposed to record the games and post them on YouTube, and some of them streamed on Twitch or on YouTube. That kind of didn't always happen, meaning that it was very hard to track down some of the games. And some creators weren't like fully in depth into it. But overall, you could watch some of them. I think Rare Candy, Zapdos, and of course the people at OmniPoke all posted their videos pretty regularly, as well as some other channels I don't entirely remember. But yeah, so best of three conquest. Conquest doesn't really matter. It means you need some deck variety, but not that much deck variety. But best of three means you're generally playing 2 to 3 games. And I don't know if this talks about the scoring, but there was like a scoring. So it says at the end of the season there were prizes and relegations. Relegations are a pretty big deal. In the end, that didn't really happen. I guess they all kind of got relegated because it never came back, as far as I know. If there's something that was like a spin-off of the OPOP League, tell me that down below. I'm pretty sure there isn't. It's super hard to find info about it because like you search it up and it just like doesn't show up. But yeah, it never really came back. It actually ended early. It was supposed to be, I think, 38 weeks or something. That ended after 20. And so. You can also the prizes did happen. I think I don't think there was anything major, but this is kind of weird because it's like competitive, and then the videos are long because it's just playing, and people are very like taking it very seriously, which generally makes bad content. Honestly, it can be fine for streaming, certainly. I guess I don't watch streams that much, and I certainly don't stream very much. I've streamed a few times, but very competitive play when you're the one competing and the one like commentating your own games at the same time, something gets worse. Either the play or the commentary. And generally, the play also isn't that interesting if it's competitive. It could be interesting, certainly, but it's a lot of the same stuff you've seen before. At this time, it was just a lot of ADP and Pikarom and Eternus and like Sense Scorch and those types of decks, which are fine, but a lot of people didn't really like those, and so pretty much you'd see these like mirrors of these top decks, which you'd see all the time anyway. So, and then the people are playing well, and generally they're playing well, but the commentary wasn't very good, so it was very slow paced, and that was the main thing that happened that caused it to not do well. And if you watch, there's a video a lot of people talk about a little. And it was something that just performed really badly on people's channels as well. It was just kind of funny and kind of crazy because like collabs should generally perform better because you got essentially multiple audiences to draw from. But they didn't. They did not perform well, and all the videos performed, I'd say awfully. I'd say I think they were 10 out of 10 videos, which is bad. A 10 out of 10 video is like 10th place out of 10. That's not good. If you hear a YouTuber say that, that's bad. And so the videos were bad, where they performed badly, and the gameplay was, I mean, it was, I guess, good gameplay, but you can see good gameplay other places. And so it was just not the best. Relegations obviously like put something big on the line, and the prizes too. And then the relegation thing is weird. Like relegating someone feels weird. They didn't end up doing that, as I said, but still, that seems kind of strange. And a bit too serious for my liking. Relegation kind of implies you like relegate them to some other league. I guess I'm not a sports guy, but I feel like that kind of implies that. But there obviously isn't like another league, so that would just kind of mean you're kicked out. Okay, and then during the season, they said a variety of fun weeks and alternative formats to keep things exciting. I'm pretty sure the fun weeks are the alternative formats, and that was, I believe, every 5 weeks. So you had 3 or 4 alternative formats. I think one was single prizers. One, they might have done expanded. They definitely did themed. I don't know. Obviously, this is a decent idea, actually, it's a very good idea. But I think they should have done it more often. It makes things more interesting, tosses things up a little. You get some really cool decks, and it's not like as people aren't playing at their best, but that means that it's also going to be more interesting and more unique. The deck variety is going to be obviously more as each week is, or each like format's going to have different deck variety or decks, which I think is really cool. And overall, I feel like this was really nice, and it made some really cool out moments. I played themed a lot back in the day, and watching YouTubers who hadn't played themed and play badly was kind of funny to me. I didn't play awfully either, and some played pretty well. And like them kind of thinking about the meta was kind of cool. So you could see people do things that they weren't as confident in, which I think made it more interesting. Um, oh, I actually went to the next thing. So and then I also said monthly updates. So there was like a tournament standings. I don't really remember how that worked. It was like obviously like if you won and stuff, you'd get points, but the stats were like all right, and nothing crazy. I mean, there's like Limitless, so this kind of started. I think this started before Play Limitless, if I remember correctly, which is kind of why it fizzled out. Because Play Limitless obviously has like lots of stats. I literally made a whole video of GLC where I just took Play Limitless stats and just talked about it. I've talked about Play Limitless stats so often, and it's really cool in my opinion, really useful. But then you could see like rankings of the people, which was kind of cool, and you kind of learn who was better and worse and stuff, I guess. But obviously, people are treating it differently. And at the end of the day, there's content and there's winning, and those two don't necessarily always align, and you just decide which one you prioritize. And then let's see, this third bullet point, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Yeah, I don't know. But then it's all the, oh yeah, so they said there was an invitational. I think there was an invitational, but I really can't find it. I think the invitational was 16 people, which is essentially all of them. I think there were 2 people who didn't finish, and then the two members of Omnipoke, Jack and Joe, didn't play in it either. But I don't know if that's true. I can't find it. I looked for it and I couldn't find it. So someone tell me if the invitational actually happened and who won. But I don't think it did. And then they said there was relegation, but there wasn't. But then who are the people? What's these channels? So yeah, these are the. I think there's 19 channels here, or maybe 18. No, there should be 19. Because Omnipoke is 2 people. 10, 15. Yeah, so there's 19 channels, including one major one, which is crazy, which is Purple Cliff. Purple Cliff, who has over 1 million subscribers, who didn't finish because Purple Cliff stopped playing the TCG and then realized that stop playing the TCG meant that he gained more subscribers than everyone else combined. So that's pretty crazy, and that's kind of weird. Like Purple Cliff was in this. He played some. Like what? This is crazy. Then you see like a decent variety. Obviously, and now I'm going to talk about the channels. Obviously, some of this is very opinion based, but I feel like certain channels like kind of have to be here. Obviously, Omnipoke has to, and I think they're a great fit. I don't know if they're quite the ones to run it. I guess I should talk about Omnipoke here as well. They make good content, but it tends to be very slow paced, which is all right, but isn't necessarily what everyone else wants, and that's kind of why maybe they weren't the ideal hosts. They're not bad. I think they're like good. They're a cool channel. They have good commentary. If they're like commentating, but they're not commenting other people's game. So I think maybe that's a change that could have happened. And then We see obviously Tricky Jim should really be there if he can. He's the biggest. He kind of like drives people in though. And then Azul, Celios, Little Dark Fury. Little Dark Fury is a great pick. Zapdos, um, and then Tablemon, Rare Candy. I think Rare Candy still has content, but he's kind of been sketchy about it. Um, a few other channels though. We have was it Bird's PTCG or something? He just changed his channel. I think he was under the Slowpoke well, but he's cool. Um, we have Orbomb. I don't remember anything about that channel. I think it's still going, but I don't remember. Ruler Ready is fine. He's competitive. I don't think he had much of a channel back then. And so he's certainly fine to be here. PCG Radio is super weird to have here because he notoriously doesn't really post gameplay content. He has the most subscribers. Some ways he's very nice to be here. And of course, he's a friend of the OmniPoke guys, so that kind of made sense, but still kind of weird. I mentioned Tailmon, certainly a good inclusion. Team Fish Knuckles, they kind of fell off. I kind of hate to say it, but they kind of did. I think they've kind of returned as well, which is cool, but for a while they like really like they were really big and were like an obvious inclusion, and then they kind of fell off. So but they're kind of back. I think I don't know. Trainer Chip definitely fell off. I don't believe he's posted content in a long time. He might have been posting content during the time of the OPOP, but obviously now you wouldn't include him. Flexi Righteous has had some issues with consistency, but overall a decent channel. You have the Stabilize. So the Stabilize is kind of weird, as when collaborations, you talk about collaborations, you talk about time zones, and I believe everyone else is in either an American or European time zone. I'm looking around and I think so, but I could be wrong. Which obviously though that can be like pretty far if you're like I don't know who's like the farthest east in Europe, but then and then obviously like Western America, but the Stabilize is from Australia, which is like far. So that can be annoying for time zones, and there's also a consistency issue. So I could see cutting him if we were to make like a new roster. And then we have Plus Power and iCademy, and they don't speak. Their channels are not primarily in English, which is fine. Certainly, obviously, it's good to have channels that are in English, but it's kind of weird. Like just having two of them is just kind of random. In my opinion, not that they don't belong here, but I'd say either you don't have channels that are in English or you have a bunch, and I feel like two's not the right number. That's kind of weird. I don't know much about Plus Power either, so I probably wouldn't include Plus Power. I'd say iCademy definitely fits here, but it's not like obviously it's not like an English channel. So yeah, and there are obviously lots of other non-English Pokemon channels, but most of them are Japanese. There are lots of Japanese Pokemon channels, which are there's a bigger language barrier. Well, I mean, I don't. There are certainly some Japanese players who speak English, but it's a bigger time zone differences. I guess what I was trying to say. And so, it is kind of weird, but I don't think it's like anything crazy, but just something a little weird. Yeah, but then part of the issue where it like kind of stopped was people had scheduling issues, and if you're in like big different time zones, it's kind of annoying. So that's one of the other issues. And then a few channels that I feel like should have been here. We got For the Win. These are the three channels that I think are pretty big right now, who arguably belong here. The Shuffle Squad's a weird channel. It's a bunch of people. That'd probably be Zach. I don't know what Zach Lesage is doing, if he's like still doing content for that. I think he is some, but it's a weird situation. And then Trusted Pilot is like he's had some consistency issues, but aside from that, he's like really big. He's good. He's like he's like a more interesting. I think he's one of the funniest content creators in my opinion. Obviously, it's up to you, because like you can have your own opinions on channels, but overall, I feel like he's one of the funnier ones. He plays live. He's like the live expert as well. Obviously, they all kind of play live now, or not all of them play live. Some like don't, but most do. And then For the Win is someone I think who has to be here, who kind of rose up, I guess, since then. But he's like an obvious inclusion. I think you couldn't really have the league without him. I mean, you could but like, he's a big following, entertaining guy. Cool decks. Like he just checks all. He's kind of like a Little Dark Fury. I'd say a lot of people would see him in that line. And I don't know who's better. I'd say Little Deck Fury comes up with like more content and more like funny decks, or more like more stuff. But I think For the Win is probably, in my opinion, more like a better speaker. But they're both like very good at what they do. So overall, I'd say For the Win like had to be there if we did this again. But I'm not like planning on doing this, right? I don't know if any of you are expecting that. Unfortunately, I do not have the influence to do it. Maybe I do, but if I were to do it, I'd also add in. I don't know. I'm trying to think who else would be a good inclusion. Miller Magikarp could be a decent inclusion, but I don't think he's like necessary to be there. There are a few other like smaller ones, which are fine. Yeah, well, comment down below. Tell me what your thoughts are on this, and who you'd add if you had to like choose the league. And also, I feel like we need to talk about like I talked about somewhere it went wrong, but like it just didn't create good content, which is weird. But I feel like YouTube collabs are really important for a community. And I consider myself like a YouTuber, I guess. I make videos obviously, and I have like a following, not a major following, but it's not like within the TCG community, Pokemon TCG community, it's not nothing. Anyway, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on the subject and how collabs can be done in the future, and collabs that you think would be interesting to see between your favorite content creators, not like me, but like other people. I don't know if I'm anyone's favorite content creator. If I am, thank you. But yeah, overall, I feel like it's a really interesting concept that like it's just failed. It really like, didn't work out. I think pretty much if you ask, like I asked someone, I think it was Rare Candy in a Q&A, and he was like, "What? Oh, this was like a thing." It just like we had a scheduling issues, and there are this, and then there I was like, "Oh, it's like I don't know." It was just kind of weird. It was a thing that kind of got left in the dust after like because it started an early like I guess COVID. I can say that. Wait, how far am I into the video? Yeah, okay. Hopefully the video doesn't get like demonetized or like something. Sometimes when you say COVID, YouTube gets like mad at you. But yeah, no. So it happened in early COVID, when there weren't like IRL tournaments, and there weren't like online tournaments either. That being said, like a lot of the YouTubers don't really do competitive. Like they kind of do competitive. That's where it got kind of weird, like whether it was supposed to be competitive or whether it wasn't. And so overall, I feel like there's a bit of a like a I don't know, something that wasn't quite right. But overall, I'm looking forward to seeing if something like this will come back, how it will come back, if live can be like the place for it. I think live could be. And obviously, in terms of fun formats as well, obviously do like some GLC variant. I guess they'd all have to be in live. They all have to be standard variants. There are a number of singlet standard variants, though. There are at least like 5 or 6, so it's not a huge deal. But overall, I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video. See ya.